Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Windows. Tonight we'll be talking about women empowerment in Egypt. Women empowerment has seen a lot of big strides in the past 10 years or so, and it touched on all domains, in the education field, in the health sector, young girls, the development of the skills of women workers, equal pay for women and men, more jobs created for women. On the political also scene, more women in parliament, more women in the cabinet, and in the justice or judicial system. And we have more business women now, more than ever, here in Egypt. The startups and the small and medium enterprises has seen a lot of government initiatives to endorse women. Much more has been achieved, and we still also have to do more on that great path of women empowerment in Egypt. That will be our main topic here for tonight, and we have the pleasure of having with us here in the studio engineer Amany Shennawy, and she is a civil society member and an international service organization member, and she's also a chemical engineer. A very good evening to you, Engineer Amany, and thank you for being here with us.
Good evening, and thank you.
Thank you very much. So where would you like to start, Engineer Amany? I guess maybe if you allow us to start by defining women empowerment, if we can, because we hear the term a lot, but we want to know what is exactly meant by empowerment in the textbook of the United Nations and the textbooks of Egypt's 2030 vision and strategy.
In general, women empowerment is defined as it's the gaining, that when women gain the power and the control over their lives. So they can make strategic decisions, they can make strategic choices. This is the international definition for women empowerment, and this is what drives us to have principles and have steps to how to go to give the women empowerment.
Indeed, so it's a very broad meaning, but it's comprehensive.
Yes.
It's a comprehensive meaning. It engulfs a lot of things, like having it's like having the right of self-determination in the political textbook. You know, when we talk about certain people or certain race or ethnicity in a certain country, we say like they want to have the right of self-determination. So you know, to be able to make their own strategic choices is indeed a very big meaning, a very broad meaning, and it, I guess, conforms also with Islamic teachings.
Yes.
Because we know that in Islam, for instance, a woman has the absolute right to accept this man as a husband or not. I mean, it is her, so she's the only one entitled to say yes or no, and she has all that right. For instance, just an example.
And to work also.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Women were working during the beginning of Islam, and they were business women. In Egypt too, our culture is completely supporting the women empowerment.
The Prophet's wife, Khadija, was a businesswoman. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Prophet's wife was a businesswoman. In Egypt, we have totally empowered women all over the pharaonic era. We had Queen
Hatshepsut.
yes, ruling Egypt. Queens were ruling Egypt.
A number of them, of course.
Yes, yes, kings and queens. So
Right.
this means that there was women empowerment and equality.
Indeed. So the culture of women empowerment is embedded in Egyptian history, as you said. Engineer Amany, so what are the components of women empowerment?
Okay, to have women empowerment, we should go to certain components. Women should feel the self-worth, and this is the first component. Because, for example, you can find a woman who is reluctant to apply for a job because she doesn't believe in herself. She doesn't believe that she will get this job, so she doesn't apply for it. This is the first component.
Sorry to stop you,
Yes.
but although a lot of jobs are best practiced by women, like teaching in KG, teaching young children, be it boys or girls, like nursing, helping doctors in hospitals. I mean, some jobs, I'm sure there are a lot more, but this is just what came to my mind. I mean, some jobs, women are better, simply that. I mean, they suit these jobs better than other jobs.
Yes, true.
Right.
If the woman has the feeling of self-worth, this is the first step, the first component. The second component is that she has the right to determine the choices. People give her the choice. You don't tell her you should marry this person, you should work this job. No,
it's not you should. Do you want?
Do you want? So she has.
Do you accept?
Yes, she has to be given the right to choose. The third component is that she has to access the opportunities and resources, meaning that I don't tell her that those companies you can't apply in those companies. You can apply and have a job in others. No, you don't have to live in these areas. You live in all the resources should be equally given like men. The fourth component is to have control over her life. If she wish to have choices that concern her life. The fifth component is that she has an influence, and this comes after the four above components, the influence on socially and economically on the society, nationally and internationally.
Right. If we're speaking about control of choices, she has, for instance, and this is also in Islam, she has the right to ask for divorce or the other form of divorce, khula, or just okay.
She goes away and she tells her husband.
Okay,
that's it.
Enough. That's it.
It's
that's
enough.
It.
I don't like this life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the ability to influence. But I want to discuss this point because it shouldn't be even written, because women naturally have a very strong influence, because the woman is the mother. First of all, she could be the grandmother. And we see, like in Upper Egypt and Said, for instance, like the grandmothers or the mother, they have such a huge influence. I mean, they rule their families like queens, really. She's the wife, she's the sister, daughter, whatever. So naturally, by nature, humankind nature dictates that women have influence. I mean, we don't have to write it. I mean,
yes,
really.
Especially in Egypt. Yes, we do take this empowerment from our fathers, our brothers, our sons, because if the fathers don't empower the women, they won't be empowered. I remember well that when I was young, my father was giving me this empowerment. To support me to finish the engineering career, to support me to drive my car, to drive it well and know everything, even if I have a flat tire, I should depend on myself. So dependence gives the women empowerment. Independence,
right.
Sorry. Gives the women empowerment.
Right. So there is something called the Women Empowerment Index. That's a global index, or what?
Yes.
Or do we have an index specifically here in Egypt?
It's a global index that by which we measure the women empowerment and how it's going in countries. So we have two indices: the Women Empowerment Index and the GGPI. Global Gender Parity Index. So those should be high. When they get high, so you're having the women empowerment going in the right direction. Of course, it's equations, mathematical equations that they calculate the index at that time in each
Chemical
country.
formulas.
Yes, my life is all chemical formulas. As a chemical engineer, I'm
Right.
so inspired by chemistry.
Indeed. So, how are we faring? How is Egypt doing as far as the women empowerment
Egypt is
goes?
getting far more better. We had many problems at the time.
Challenges, of course, naturally.
Yes,
Yeah.
challenges of we had challenges of poverty, challenges of high population that was going up, maybe violence. All those are getting better. The figures are getting better, and the indices are getting higher because of a lot of
Legislation?
yes, legislation, of course, in the cases of violence and in the cases of harassment.
Because I was going to say that the first two points that you mentioned affect men as well, not just women. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, poverty or the economic situation or
Yes.
or the overpopulation that affects men as well, not just women. But of violence, yeah. So we're having an improvement here.
Yes, we have
in
an
this area.
improvement, yes, and we have new advocacy and new legal points that support women. Even if any women was harassment or all those bad things and violence, now it begins from it has a penalty, a big penalty, and prison, 5 years prison as a beginning. So it's controlled a
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
Plus a lot of other steps that was taken by the government and the NGOs in order to.
So NGOs themselves have been empowered in the past 10 years as well?
NGOs are trying to do their best for the community, especially if you talk about NGOs who are working in a scientific way. So they help in community assessments, they help in finding the most needy villages. That's why NGOs are working in parallel with Decent Life, Haya Karima. It's the same scientific way of assessing the community, of going to people, of having a plan of developing. Not that you give a man a fish so he eats for one day.
You teach
but
him how to fish.
You teach him how to fish, so he eats every day. So this is the concept of developing a country economically and according to the all the water and sanitation and all
the elements of a decent life.
yes.
You were just talking about the points or the components that make up the index, and I'm sure one of them has to do with the health, the state of health, and I think, and you tell us, and please expand on this, Engineer Amany, that Egypt has done a great effort, especially in this area, you know, the health sector, and especially for women.
Yes. For developing a man or a woman, you always look for education and health. Those are the elements that,
awareness.
yes. So as for health, to have a healthy woman who works, women are half our society approximately. So if you have half the society empowered and working, they should be in a good health. We have a lot of initiatives that were brought up by Haya Karima, like 100 lives, 100 million lives health. And
Of course, the eradication of the virus C
yes,
was very
eradication
successful.
of virus C. This was the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries were men and women. Also, we have special initiatives that were made for women like screening and for maternal and child health, screening women for early detection of tumors. We have also child health. A child is taken care of, elderly too, because if the elderly are in a good health, the women have the time and have the energy to work because
Right.
most women take care of their mothers, fathers. So we have a lot of health initiatives that made it better and made the education better too.
All right. The education.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a very important component of the index. What can you tell us about the education, the training programs?
In the past years, women finishing their high school are increasing in number. This
More than the increase of population? Because I guess we have
yes,
to measure it that way
yes,
as well. Okay,
it's,
very
it's
good.
Because we're having a youthful society.
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
It is.
our society is youthful, so now the women are, due to awareness in rural areas, due to encouraging the girls to finish their education. Also training and vocational training takes place in a lot of, through a lot of initiatives in order to have jobs for the ladies, for the women. When a woman is decided to be an entrepreneur, if you leave her without scientific training, vocational training, they will lose the money they started with, because they have to make market surveys. They have to know what to produce, not to go and produce any product and then try to market it. So they are given training, vocational training. For example, if they have a vocational training for working in the garment industry, so they have to know what to produce, what colors, what are the fashion colors, in order to make it easy in their supply chain to reach the market.
Right. Jean, and then there are also technical programs, higher education programs and so on to support girls and women. What can you tell us about that?
The higher education, after they finish their high school, higher education is being supported by the government, that the girls can study in universities, and after finishing their their being graduated, they can have masters, their PhD. We have a lot of highly educated women in all the fields. In
What about the
engineering,
technical programs?
The technical
support programs.
The technical support programs, if they are going to have their technical education, which replaces the secondary education, so they are going to have technical industrial education in a certain field, and then continue. They can have digital transformation education too, because they in the technical field we have the computer science, the digitalization, which is very much in need. Our country and all the countries are it's needed now, so they go for technical education and help in the field they are graduated from.
Before we proceed, just let me ask you a question that popped to my mind, and it does have and may not have a relationship, a direct relationship with what we're talking about, but it's just interesting, I guess, for all of us to know. Do you think that due to the coronavirus pandemic, for instance, and the fact that a lot of people stayed at home for months, that women or girls benefited from this by, you know, having online jobs, studying more online, learning more about technology? Or was it, no, actually not very helpful, because girls went on and and shopped online and wasted their money, and women wasted their money. Tell me what you think. How the pandemic, this is the question. By the way, there could be research to be done on this. How did the coronavirus pandemic affect the development of women empowerment in Egypt? Positively or negatively? Or
for women, of course, shopping is a kind of fun and kind
It's a
of
hobby.
self-satisfaction and
It's a job.
having new things always.
Shopping is a job and a hobby for women.
Yes. The pandemic, it was an emergency and we all stayed home. A lot of people went for courses and went for even having higher education and starting to have masters too. As for myself, I had a course on the energy within environmental constraints. It was a very nice one with a lot of physics and chemistry. We had the time to do things that we won't be able to do
we
in
weren't
the
able
normal
to
life.
do before, and we're not able to do now.
Yes, and
because life is back to normal.
I like very much to work on statistics of what happened at that time. This is a very nice suggestion that you raised up.
Well, thank you. I hope I gave you an idea about making a research. I mean, maybe
it's really good to have.
And you know what, Engineer Amany, because this could happen. I hope it doesn't, but this could happen again. I mean, nobody ever imagined that we'd have something like the coronavirus pandemic. Yes. Who knows? Maybe in a few years' time, or a few decades, who knows? I mean, something like this is going to happen again. It might be even worse. We don't know. I mean, nobody knows. Yeah.
So we get
ready for
prepared.
It.
Yes, we prepare ourselves.
Okay, Engineer Amany, the business incubators and the entrepreneurship networks. How is this being done?
Those are the steps the government took to empower women. Women were empowered by a lot of means, including the incubators, of course, that it holds the projects. It incubates the projects and help them to get it to life in a very successful way. Entrepreneurs are the women who studied in certain area, and they have the job done by themselves as business entrepreneurs. So they are supported with volunteers who give them the experience, who tell them how to do, the know-how of the industry they're working on, the markets that they should go and put their products and how they distribute it online or physically, or having we can say some sort of agreements with certain people who can buy the products from them. So the entrepreneur have to go through a lot of steps, and this was supported by the government, and of course by the non-governmental organization, as we support the vocational training, their vocational training, and the women empowerment if they are women.
Okay, let me ask you this, and this is about your personal opinion, before we proceed with women empowerment in Egypt. We saw, for instance, attempts by women athletes for equal pay with men. For instance, the U.S. national football team, they call it soccer in the U.S., football.
Yes.
As the world knows it, asked for equal pay compared to their men counterparts. So, at the same time, yes, they are doing better, by the way. I mean, the U.S. women's team is more successful than the men's women's team. They achieve better results. It's true. But at the same time, those who watch those who watch the men's team are more than those who watch the women's team, and thus they have more ads or advertisements, and so that they bring in more money, and stuff like that. Same thing for tennis, women tennis players. They ask for equal pay. What do you think about that? I mean, is that equality, or has this gone beyond equality? Because equality should be you're all in one field. If you get me, like, if what you're doing actually brings me more money, then you'll get better paid, because we have, for instance, Taylor Swift, for instance. Nobody is stopping her from making, you know, I don't know, $1 billion maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's something about humanity. It's not about men and women. If you are talking about individuals in tennis, so maybe a man gets $1 million, the other gets $500,000 million. It's not about that. This is a man and a woman. As for women, if we want to be equal, so we should be treating the subject in the same way. So the man who gets the $1 million, I get the $500,000, because
because half the people watch me compared to him, or my sport brings in half the money that the men's sport brings.
Yes, so women have to accept that.
That's equality.
Yes, this is
and
equality.
From that point of view, this is equality.
Yes, this is equality.
Right. Okay. Okay, I just wanted to know your point of view. And
this is equality. It's not that women have to be paid the same wages, and while their efficiency is less in certain.
Yeah, of course, I didn't say that naturally a tennis match between a man and a woman, I mean, naturally the result would be known. I mean, if this is number one against number one, I mean, that's naturally. But other sports, for instance, I'm sure women's sports like gymnastics, maybe like ballet in the pool, or I don't know, they would bring more viewership than men, and thus they could be paid more because they bring in more money or more viewership. It's
according to the people who watch, as you said. The same thing happens in factories. Factories who pay the wages according to the production. So a man who produces 100 pieces of this product, the woman produces 75 pieces, so she will take
75% of what he gets. And if she was able to make 125, then she would get 1.25 of what he.
She gets faster, and she makes the 125, so he will still have the 100.
Right.
It's about human.
Yes, excellent. So back again to the components of the women empowerment in Egypt and of the index that measures this. What about the national family program in Egypt? How important is it? How is it working?
This is an initiative which is in Haya Karima, or Decent Life Initiative, the presidential initiative that started 2019 for community development. So the national family program takes care of the women, the children, and every member of the family. It even has, it initiated microloans for women who are in maternity leaves. Because they take time, and maybe it's
naturally
it's a paid leave for a certain time, but if she takes more leave, she can have her business done. It takes care of the health of the women, so women have to be healthy in order to be productive. It takes care of the kids and their health too. If there's any genetic health issues, it's detected, it's early detected, so as they get cured or get helped somehow.
Right. Engineer Amany, is there a specific geographic area in Egypt that has benefited from women empowerment more than others? And is there a certain region or area, or again geographic zone, that we need to look more to for women empowerment?
It's very shown in the statistics of decent life that we start always with the rural areas.
Okay.
So the development that happened in the last years, from the year 2019, started with the rural areas, which is the right thing when you come and develop a country. You take the most needy villages, the most needy places, the rural places, and you start with. So those places were taken care of as empowerment too. To empower women and to give them awareness sessions of how their lives should be, how their rights in choices, how to have their political rights too. And this was well shown in the last elections.
Right.
The
The presidential elections, right.
Yes.
We saw more women.
Women.
Yeah.
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 We always said that we wanted to be 50% women having their election rights and going for elections.
Yes.
And this time it was really obvious.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
The challenges. What about the challenges that we're facing? What are we? Where are we lagging in?
The challenges are always in health and education. This is a very hard. Those points are very hard to keep them sustainable. So we're always looking for sustainability in health and education. If we're talking about, of course, for everyone, for men and women, but we're talking today about the women empowerment. So we are looking for women who are healthy, who take care of themselves, go for screening, have their nutrition in a good way, avoiding poverty in a lot of ways through working, even from home when they cannot go out for certain reasons for taking care of their kids, or they can have their projects home. Challenges with raising up kids, because if you have a good educated mother, you'll have a good future and good kids. Challenges in the maybe people who are not used that women work. We don't have a lot of this now in our country, because everyone is supporting women to be doing her role in life inside the house and outside the house.
And maybe the economic challenges have also helped in this. I mean, we see now a lot of families where both husband and wife work. They simply have to work, both of them, to sustain a decent life.
Yes, this is true. Now people are going for this culture that men and women are working, even if she can't work all the time. She can work part-time, she can work part-time from home, because the economic life has to be supported.
Sustained, yes, indeed.
Yes, sustained.
Women must have had, Engineer Amany, a very important role in combating extremist ideas, I'm sure. Tell us about that. How important was it, and how do you view that?
This was an era that was, it was not from our culture, so it took its time, and yeah, because we're lucky, men and women made it hand in hand, that they, the awareness for the kids, knowing their real religion from good sources, from trusted sources. There were times that kids and youth took their education from untrusted sources, and this made
unworthy sources.
Yes, so when you have good people giving the preaching and the Azhar people, talks that the community made.
And women are more moderate than men, aren't they? I mean, this is I don't know. Some women
some
in
women
some
are
issues.
moderate,
In
some men
issues.
are, yeah.
Some
I think
women in
it's-
some issues.
I think it would be 50%.
That's a very interesting question again. I mean,
Yes, we should have
are men or women more? Which of them are more moderate?
we should have those statistics too.
Yeah.
It's a research. It could be
Yeah,
done.
and I guess it would depend on what the topic is. I mean, moderate on what? On you know, on the children's rights, their children's rights, on political issues, on religious ideas, on I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, but that debate will go on forever.
Yeah, and it's good
So-
to have those statistics, the social statistics of moderate and
Right.
we said another research that
Right,
was
yeah.
the corona people.
Yeah.
What did they do during the
Would-
corona?
Yeah, how did it affect women
Yeah.
empowerment? So finally, Engineer Amany, what are your goals in the future? I mean, you work for civil society and international service organization. You try to help empower women here in Egypt. What are your goals and what are your dreams?
Our goals are sustainable. So we're going on since years in steps towards 100% women empowerment, 100% community development. But we cannot do this in one step. It has to be
course.
done in steps, and always the NGOs, the problem is funding. So we're looking for funding. We're having scientifically fundraisers that help us do this, and we're going in steps towards it. My dreams are a life where it has equality for everyone, for men, women, kids, for all races, for everyone. So this is my dream.
That's a beautiful dream. Thank you very much, Engineer Amany Shennawy, chemical engineer and member of civil society and international service organization. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being with us. And thank you for watching us, dear viewers. This is Muhammad Abdurrahim, and this is Goodbye.